Ebony was not like any other child in the street Vanderbilt. The girl was brought into this world during a time of need, and even though neither she nor the people knew it, she was the eye of only hope in time of great war. An innocent soul caught up in the clashes of humans and the eternal. Ebony shone brightest among them all, for she was the daughter of the land, the sea, and stars. The girl knew she shouldn't go into her grandfather's study, but every once in a while she would find herself drawn to that place. It was really a bedroom, and Ebony could question why, out of all the rooms in the Abbot's manor, her grandfather had chosen that particular one to use as his study. But it led into the most magnificent place in the whole of Aya, the library. It wasn't the fact that she could sit in one of the company window seats that had a view across the bay to read her favourite story, chosen from the numberless books stacked shelf after shelf of the library was Emily's third room. No, out of the many rooms in London Manor where the girl lived with her grandfather, the library was her favourite because it painted ceiling. It was illustrated with a starry night sky where two star bears, Ursa Minor and Ursa Major, danced with their friend the mighty star dragon Saturn. The girl dreamt of this room often, and one book in particular seemed to speak to her. Ebony, 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 whispered over and over again while she slept. That morning, once again, the girl found that she couldn't resist poking her head round the corner of the door to check that the house was clear, sneaking inside the study, and slowly and quietly closing the door behind her. Ebony moved the narrow ladder on its tiny wheels, which squeaked loudly as she dragged it across the correct place, making Ebony look behind her, as she didn't want to be discovered. On days like this, Ebony would sit on the windowsill for hours on end, reading a tattered ancient book with most of its crinkled pages falling out. The small volume fitted perfectly in her little hands. It rested most of the time, when she wasn't reading it, on the topmost dustiest shelf in her grandfather's library, all on its own. Emily always felt sorry for the book. Why are you on your own? She would ask it. Each time the girl finished reading, she placed the book on the bottom shelf of the bookcase, and with the others to keep it company. But the next time she sneaked into the library, she would find it on the topmost shelf, once again all alone. Taking the tattered old thing down again, Ebony would find it dusty, as if it had been there for all the time. The girl would smooth the surface of the cover carefully with her fingers until every lump, bump, notch, and dent was dust free. Ebony loved the book so much because the pictures and the stories told inside were amazing. Normally she found reading difficult as the words would jump around, but this story was different. Her favourite book, and most of its pages falling out, was kind to her. The girl came to think of the volume as her friend, as its strange little words didn't jump around like the others did, which she thought was kind of them. Sometimes Ebony would hear someone approaching while she was in the library, but luckily she found a good hiding place. When the girl heard someone walking in the Ebony hall and calling out her name, she would open the window to see where she loved to sit and read, or stare up at the painted ceiling. Inside there was just enough room for her to hide it until the coast was clear once again. This evening, as on many of the other occasions, when Ebony sneaked into her grandfather's study, she found the night drawing in before she even realized what time it was, for she had been reading all day. So far the girl's grandfather had not discovered her secret place. Later, when Ebony appeared at the large dining table, she would say, "I was playing in the woods all day, grandfather." The girl hated lying to him, for she loved him very much, but this was her secret. Chapter 1. Defenders of Aya. I didn't know much about my mother, as I was only a baby when she went to join the stars. But if I tried, really tried, I was sure I could remember her kind, loving eyes, which were brown with flashes of gold, just like my own. When I asked grandfather about mother, he would become very sad. He missed his daughter very much, but that broke his heart. Grandfather would say, "Ebony, your mother was one of the most beautiful women in the whole of Aya, the brightest star in the whole of the kingdom of starry heavens above. She's looking down on you right now, and if she could tell you, she would say she was very proud. Her love for you will go on forever." And I asked my grandfather about my father. His grey eyes would become as hard as stone. He would shake his head and reply, "Your father loves you too, Ebony, but he's called to the sea, while your mother to the stars above." When I frowned at his words, grandfather would smile at me kindly, give me a comforting cuddle in his thin arms, and tap me on the nose with a long finger. He always knew it would make me giggle. "You will meet your father one day," he'd say, "and you will finally understand how special you truly are, child." Grandfather was old, I mean ancient, but he still played games with me. He would jump around like a great big grasshopper, holding me in his long thin arms, and spin me around at 100 miles per hour. My grandfather loved me, and I loved him, but he also worked very hard. Leaving me at home of Lantern Manor, he would trek the land to trade. I hated it when he left me with the strict days. I didn't like her. She was no fun. Grandfather thought she made a fantastic nanny, but I didn't. I disagree. Bee didn't live at the manor. In the past she did, but now she lives nearby with her own family. Only when grandfather had to go away did Bee turn up on our doorstep, laden down with her bags. I know he hated leaving me as much as I hated to see him go. Bee's brother, Sonny, was nice, and he lived at Malady Manor with his wife, Marcia. Having been friends with my mother, he would tell me stories of how they met and the different lives they once led. Unlike Sonny, who grew up at the manor, my mother used to live in a small town by the sea, called Woodtown. I wanted to know why she had been raised away from grandfather, but Sonny would never say, and simply replied, "We grew up with her mother." When I asked Sonny why, he would shake the sandy-coloured hair on his head and said, "You will have to ask your grandfather." But I saw how sad grandfather got whenever I asked him a question about mother, so I didn't ask. I didn't want to make him sad again if I could help it. Instead I would make up stories of my own, of how my mother was great princess and warrior leading her army into battle. I would think of adventures where she had to leave grandfather to find great treasure. In these tales my mother saved many fierce villages from fire-breathing dragons, or fought strange creatures like carrions and the Eternals, as depicted in my wonderful mysterious old book, which also found itself on the lonely topmost shelf. I wrote these stories down in my own book and titled it Ebony's Legacy. Grandfather knew my tales, but he never read them. He would always tell me words. Words have power, Ebony. Always treat them with respect, and they will in return respect you. Many nights I sat on grandfather's lap in front of the roaring fire with our great Dane Dominic by his feet, telling them both about mother's adventures. My stories always made my grandfather happy. Every time I finished the words, "and they lived happily ever after," he would ruffle my hand, telling me, "You know your mother very well, little one." And so I continued to read him my tales, my own words, like those in my favourite books, and never seemed to jump off ground. These stories were also my friends. Mother was known for her art when she was alive, and Lantern Manor was full of her legacy. She must have loved my favourite pastel book and the painted ceiling just as much as I did. There were paintings of Ladron and the mighty dragon, with the sun in his mouth, and the bare constellation of Ursa Major and Ursa Minor spinning in the bluish black star-strewn sky. There were also pictures of a cliff raising up from dark blue sea, a pirate boat called the Firethroat, and a crystal city which now lay in ruins in the bay. But in this painting the city glittered in the sunlight, and as it once did before I was born. There were also portraits. Some were of my grandfather when he was less grey and wrinkly, and others of my grandmother. Then there were a few faces I did not recognise. I was drawn to two in particular. One was titled Chris, and the other titled Blake. Once I asked grandfather who they were, and he replied, "Sir only loved two men in her life, here and Aya. One went to the edge of the ocean for her, while the other understood her soul like no other could. Whether either of them loved her more than the other, I could not tell for sure, but I know she loved you most of all." I smiled, for his words made me both very happy and very sad, but Grandpa Manor was my playground, for the woods provided many trees and bushes which to build my den. The kitchen garden provided tasty snacks for I went hungry, The terrace gardens and lawn offered sunshine weather when the woods were too cold to play in, and the lake was a perfect spot for catching tadpoles and the other water-dwelling creatures. I loved the tadpoles the most, especially when they were had both their frog legs and tails sticking out of their backs, as if they were changing before my eyes. I enjoyed creating stories of shape-shifting creatures that could fly over higher, swim through its sea, and run at great speeds across the land. These themes also gave me ideas for my adventures involving my mother. I also drew pictures to go with my stories. I sketched Mother as a dragonfly, hidden across the little lakes and ponds of Aya, who then morphed into a gigantic fire-breathing dragon, smouldering anybody who opposed her. Grandfather was fond of this story the most. He chuckled, made me shake on his lap as he brushed my dark hair back to my face. Not quite, love, not quite, he said. She wouldn't become a dragon, huh? Making him laugh deep inside his belly. No, love. Why, she would become the greatest creature of them all, a mighty star-bear, whose fur was every colour of the night sky. Stars would shimmer across her body, and she would run as fast, so fast that she would become nothing but a blue blur. Her loud roar would make her enemies quake in their boots and flee for their lives. I would smile back when her grandfather would tell me more, but he just shook his head and replied, "You tell me the stories, love. You are the storyteller after all." So I did. From then on, my mother became Ursa Major, the great mother star bear, princess, adventurer, and warrior of the starry heavens. And I, her daughter, Ursa Minor, fought alongside her in every battle. Together we became the defenders of Aya.